If I were to tell you that every decision that you have ever made was perfect, you'd look at me like I was crazy. That everything in your life is perfect because it's led up to wherever you are right now. You would look at me like I'm crazy unless you're living a very successful life and you've grown to appreciate everything you went through to get to where you are. But here's the thing, you didn't have to go through everything you went through to get to where you are. As a parent, I teach my children, you don't have to go through what I went through in order for you to learn the lessons that I have learned. So this idea that every situation we've been through has perfectly led up to where we are today and all things are perfect is a bunch of BS to make you feel good about your situation. But I want to tell you something today that can make you feel better about your situation because it's the perspective that you should have leading and going forward in your life. So I hope you stay with me and gain this understanding. So what's up, everybody? How you doing? This is your Coach Renz. I want to thank everybody for joining me. I'm taking a moment to commune with nature right now, so I thought I'd share some of that with you guys. It's a beautiful sunset that's about to happen. If you're finding me for the first time, please hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon so you know when my next videos will land, as well as continue to follow me on Facebook, Instagrams, and all those sources. And if you want to support the channel, you can do so on Patreon, as well as going over to buy gourmet popcorn for my company, UR Popcorn, Uncle Renz Popcorn. Go to urpopcorn.com or any of my coaching programs at Coach Renz. So, decisions. You know, this video has so many parts to it. I didn't necessarily know how I wanted to do it. But then I realized whatever I say right now is whatever it turns out to be. I'm not planning this one. I didn't pre-plan it. But I made a decision to come out here and just talk to you guys today. Just talk about decisions and standing by your decisions and standing strong on your decisions. Whether they turn out the way you want them to turn out or they don't turn out the way you want them to turn out. But your decisions make your life. Your decisions make your life. And how your life is right now is not just the culmination of every decision you've made, but it's also your perspective on the results of every decision you've made. So when I say every decision you made is a great decision, I don't mean that to sound like some esoteric person who's trying to make you feel good about your situation and to say to you that either you already landed in a wonderful place and life has granted you these great and wonderful things because you made every decision and you had to go through your struggles to get there, to get to that point. Or that you've made all these decisions and it's coming. Your greatness is coming. Your greatness is on the way. Your greatness is going to envelop you soon, and you'll be living the life that you are supposed to live, that you deserve to have. But many people will live their lives and die and not experience their greatness and not know the pleasure and the bountiful abundance that has always been before them. Many people will live their lives and never experience this. And the main reason is because they did two things wrong. The first one is very easy. The first one is incredibly easy. They didn't stand strong on their decisions. They made decisions and they flowed left and right. They flowed in any direction that the wind started blowing. They flowed in whatever direction that people had something to say about your decision. You made a decision to go back to school, but people start saying you're too old to go back to school, or it costs too much because you got to get student loans, and how are you going to pay back your student loan, and there are no jobs right now, so how are you going to be able to pay back those student loans, or you don't have time, or college is not for older people, or you're not equipped for college because you're young, or you didn't do well in school. And there's always a reason. There's always something that somebody says to try to derail you from what you have decided. And guess what? Your life is where it is because you decided to follow their advice. You had that initial gut that told you, hey, you need to get in shape. You need to get in shape. Hey, you had that initial gut that told you, hey, you need to go back to school. That initial gut that told you, hey, you need to start this company. That initial gut that told you, hey, you need to pick up and move to this city or this country or that country. You had it right here in that initial gut. But you listened to somebody else and they convinced you that your decision was a bad decision. And most of the time, they're doing that because it's a bad decision for them. It's not a decision they would make. It's not something that they would want you to do. Maybe they feel like if you leave, you're leaving them. They're going to lose you as a friend. They don't want to see you leave this city. They don't want to see you excel in your career because you may leave them. And it's their own personal loss, their own personal fears that they pushed on you that's causing you to think, man, is this a good decision? Should I make this decision? And I know you say, well, how do I determine between wise counsel and that, and somebody else trying to lead me astray? If it's in your gut and then you stand firm on it, then it's the best decision for you. Now let's say you don't get the results that you desire. Let's say you took in all the facts, you gain an understanding of those facts, and then you put it into play, and the wisdom brings back that it wasn't the best decision for you. Maybe not. Maybe you didn't get the results, but go back and look, how well did you stand on your decision? How well did you implement every piece of information that you were able to acquire and gain into your decision? You decided you was going to move to Miami. You decided you're going to move to Jamaica. You decided you're going to move to Botswana. You decided you're going to move to the Ivory Coast or Rwanda. You're going to move to Paris or England. You decide you're going to move to Australia. You decide you're going to move. Did you research the country? Did you go visit the country? Did you understand the customs and the ways of the country, the money, the economics of the country? Did you do your due diligence? Did you do your due diligence? If you didn't, that's why you didn't get your results. That's why you didn't get your results. And then after you went and you moved to that place, here comes number two. Here comes the second reason. You moved to that place and things didn't work out the way you wanted them to, but then you learned everything that you should have known before you went. You learned not everything, and you learned a lot of the things you should have known before you went, because you'll never learn everything. And you say to yourself, oh man, if I had known that before, then I wouldn't have made that decision. Or if I had known that before, I would have done this differently. And then you continue to live like that. You continue to live in these past regressions of the decisions that you make, these past do-overs in your mind, and wishing in your mind that you can do it over, and you keep doing that over and over again all the time, living in the past. Man, if I would have opened up Uncle Ren's popcorn over at this location, if I would have opened it up sooner instead of later, if I would have did this IT contract that went to Afghanistan and did it for 5 years, wow, where would I be if I would have instead of going to the Marine Corps, if I would have taken that scholarship to that Ivy League school instead of going to the Marine Corps, there was partial scholarship to Ivy League school, what would my life be now? If I had, when I was a kid, I was an all-star level baseball player as a kid, being looked at from when I was like 12, but then my vision went, and I didn't want to wear glasses. Oh man, if I had decided to wear glasses, I might have made it to the pros. There's a good possibility I would have made it to the pros, at least to college, but I would have made it to the pros. And then how would my life be if I had made it to the pros? What investments I would have been able to make? What kind of life would I have lived? What kind of people would I have been around? And of course, everything is good. Everything comes out good in my mind. But that doesn't necessarily guarantee that's how it's going to come out. Even if you went to the past right now and you invested your money in Microsoft, it doesn't necessarily mean you'll have a better life now than you have now. So the other thing is, you have to stop living in the past of your decisions. You have to look back and say, I made this decision based on these emotions or this thought or these other people's influence. Now, if going forward in life, the next decision, my current decisions, what have I learned from that? Will I make emotion-based decisions? Will I make logic-based decisions? What kind of decisions will I make now compared to how I made them in the past, so that as I go forward, that my present creates a better future for me? But if I'm living in my past and I'm still doing things based on my past, then I am hoping and wishing, then I'm still making bad decisions based on the same premises, then my future will turn out to be exactly the same way my present is. The reason why many people are still struggling in life is because they're living in the past and not in the present. And until you start living in the present, you don't realize how much that affects your future. You can't change your future into something different. All you're doing is making your future look exactly like your past. You're living in reverse. I drove through a town that looked like it was stuck in 1980 yesterday. You're living in the 1980s of your life, the 1990s of your life, the whatever time frame of your life, you're still living there. And until you make that change and start saying, what is the wisdom I've learned and how can I move forward, and stay with my gut and stick with my decisions and ride them out and work diligently to fulfill what I expect from them, then you'll start to see the greatness that is in your life. And your greatness is not measured by money. Your greatness is measured by the happiness and joy that you have in your life and that you spread in your life. So remember, you got to free yourself to be yourself, because your greatness is non-negotiable.